All right, what's up, guys? Glad to be back. Sorry it's been so long. It's getting a little warmer out, so been really busy. But there's a few topics that people have asked me to talk about, and I want to get back into things that matter. So that's what we're gonna start doing. We're gonna stop worrying about the world and society and all the bullshit it's got going on. We're going to talk about what really matters, people, and psychological development. So in this video, um, we're going to talk about what manifestation really is, not wishy-washy manifestation, what actual manifestation is. Okay. Um, so because I switched all my devices, I switched from Android to Apple. Okay, so I don't have a Chromebook. I still have it. I gave it to my daughter, but I don't use it anymore. So I can't pull up my documents and my camera at the same time. Why in 2022 with brand new Apple products I can't use a camera and documents at the same time? I won't bother trying to figure out, but I have to read off my phone and get quick notes and stuff. Um, so let's get into this. We'll start where we always do. Every video where we discuss spiritual truth and principles, we start in the same place with the very meaning of the word. So we'll start with the meaning of the word and the formation of the word, as in what smaller words or syllables are contained within the whole word, and what those smaller words mean. And usually, just by adding them up, putting them together, you can come up with the full definition. Um, and then from there, we'll go on to the definition of the term broadly. In current times, right now, people tend to think manifestation is nothing more than thinking happy thoughts. Put out happy thoughts and good things come to you. That's silly. If someone is watching this and you believe this idea that you think happy thoughts and the universe will send you good things, this is going to dismantle that belief, because that's not realistic whatsoever. All right, so a lot of people believe that what I just said, thinking happy thoughts, you get good things. Those happy thoughts attract like results, right? They talk a lot about attraction. But if we get into attraction, then we have to acknowledge that attraction is a principle of magnetics, and it isn't like charges that attract. If you're talking about attraction, that's a magnetic principle. Sending out good doesn't get you good. That's not how magnetics works. Opposite ends attract. North repels north. Take that and apply it. Okay? The physical world is a gross representation of the spiritual world. So somewhere in this modern understanding of manifesting things, society has hit a huge roadblock in understanding, and they won't even acknowledge it. They just keep on thinking and saying the same things over and over. Do not think of manifestation as a thought process only. Process only. It isn't. It isn't. Not here. Not out here. In this world, there's a saying for this. It's faith without works is dead. It's void. Totally void. If you have faith, but you don't have works, you have nothing. So, in another world where physicality doesn't exist and the mind is supreme, it's all that there is, manifestation is purely mental. If you want to improve yourself, you here in this world and capable of thought, then it is mostly mental, not purely mental. You are also physical. Easy to get, right? Just as half of you is in this world where you must act physically, the body, the flesh, so too is half of you in a different world where you must think. The spiritual realm is psychological, it's mental. You must master both, the flesh and the mind. That's the key. So, but anyway, if you want to manifest something in this world, this physical world, I believe that most of the time when people talk about this idea of manifesting and thinking good thoughts and getting good things in return, they aren't talking about anything other than material gain. They're talking about wealth, fame, adoration, all those kinds of things. So, if you wish to manifest something in this world, whether it be love and any of its offshoots, or a great evil, either way, you must act physically. The physical body must do things. You can't sit around and wish and hope yourself into a position of prosperity. It won't work. That's not going to happen. You must act. You must physically act in this world. And of course, there are laws that you must remain in. Break the law, face the consequence. Inescapable. No way around it. So, etymology, I'm sorry, I think that said etymologically. Etymologically, the term manifest is Latin. Of course it is. English is a language that's built on Latin. It comes from two Latin terms, manus and festus. You put those two words together, compound word, you get manifestus. That's the Latin word. Originally meaning clearly revealed to the eye or the understanding. Open to view or comprehension. And as a note here, those are the two forms of sight. Those are the two ways that you can see something. You can see it with your eyeballs, or you can see it and understand it. Comprehend it. Seeing it physically before you and understanding it. Those are the two. This distinction here about there being two types of sight. This is important for a really, really insightful video that I have maybe halfway done or so. I tend to delete everything and then start all over, so it could not even be started, technically. But this video is about perception of reality, the way that reality grows, for lack of a better term, when someone becomes consciously aware of something new. Like when someone consciously recognizes a vehicle of a certain color, for example. I've never seen a vehicle that color blue, okay? And then, or a number, okay? Like, I always see, every time I look at a clock, it says this number. Those two kinds of conscious awareness, then after that you begin to notice it everywhere. People have their own beliefs about this, especially relating to the numbers thing, how I said I see 1111 everywhere. But the idea that they have, the things that I've heard people say about, oh, it's angels talking to you, that's not the case. So that video is going to be titled Scotomas and the Perception of Reality. And if you don't know what a scotoma is, take a second to look. It's mostly it's mostly related to vision, as you see something and then you begin to notice it everywhere. But it applies to all the senses, even the non-physical senses. It applies, and it's a method for expanding reality. Anyway, sorry. So in the 14th century, the meaning of the term manifest evolved to mean to spread. And that was as it relates to fame, which is interesting. But whatever. Every period of time, any way that you want to measure it or cut time up, every time since the beginning, there have been famous people. That's just something that's just part of this world. It's also reflective of something that's internal to each individual. But you got the poets, philosophers, politicians, scientists, the great teachers, engineers, mathematicians, mechanics, physicists. There's always famous people since the very beginning. The masses, this is important because the masses, the 99.9%, have never been the ones to directly manifest. They can't, because they surrender their power to dead entities, and in turn, those dead entities protect them, take care of them, and do their manifesting for them. And I mean, it's good, because they would only bring about their own inevitable doom. The pit would open and they would consume themselves. And that's what the state exists for. But when a man takes control of his circumstances and his own life and is conscious, he will be made aware that he is now in control of his own destiny. He does his own manifesting now. The NPCs, the sleepers, the normies, the zombies, the masses, they don't manifest anything. They surrender their power to the state, who does their manifesting for them. Those, the great people throughout history, the truly great people, have all been opposed to the government. Those people do their own manifesting. They carve their own path, and they don't do it by wishful thinking. We'll get to that. Sorry. And this is something that I will have proven by the end of this video. But I'll digress from that for now. The term then evolved to mean to show plainly. But let's look past the altering and the evolution of the meaning of this term, and let's look at the definition that the others have evolved around or remained rooted in. That definition is, and as I said, every definition of the term manifestation they all circle around this one definition. Okay, that's cool. That definition is, sorry, I lost my spot. That definition is to display with your actions. Not hoping for the best, having faith, blind faith that things will work out. What's that called? Not positive affirmations with no action behind them. No, plainly displaying with your actions. Sorry, let me find my spot again. Shit, don't go down. All right. This is the ultimate meaning of the term manifest. Ever. That's what it means. Not only does it explain what it is clearly, but it also shows us why those people that think happy thoughts and and manifest good things. Manifesting good things comes from putting good thoughts out into the universe. The universe is dead, bro. If you look up, there's nothing alive. Nothing. The only place that you can find life is if you look in. Anyway, so think happy thoughts. I mean, it's fun and all, but that isn't part of this. I'm sorry, that is part of this, but that isn't how this works. There's a lot more to it than just think happy thoughts. You can manifest. You could not think a thought, and you could manifest, but you cannot think without acting and manifest anything. And this is the issue. Majority of people just go along and they go with the flow, and they end up nowhere. And then there's the less than 1% of the world that you could say rebel against this world and go their own way, and they end up in a totally different spot than everybody else. A lot of times they end up being the people most remembered. But manifestation in this world is not purely mental, because this is not the mental realm. This is the physical realm, where action is what matters. To display by actions is the method in which we manifest here. So, maybe someday I'll find the time to type the other portion of this out, where we can discuss techniques for manifesting in the mental world. But today I'm just addressing a specific request that someone asked me to do. So, as I said, I interpret when people talk about manifesting and put good out and you get good, I interpret that as money, essentially. They want money. That's just how I see it. That sounds so nice. So, there is an aspect to this, to manifesting in this world, that is mental, okay? And I can say that I've practiced it, I've done it, and it fucking works. The place where I came from, the life that I used to have compared to where I am now, was only doable with a complete overhauling of the way that I think. The way that I used to think, if you took me the way that I used to think and put me in the position I'm in now, I would wreck everything. I wouldn't have made it in this position. But now, because I think totally differently, I'm able to maintain an entirely different lifestyle. My actions are different. And those are two halves, I guess you could say. All right. So, part of the best, absolute best way to do this, right, is to look at the laws in this world. Those laws apply everywhere, in the physical and in the non-physical world, okay? And when I say laws, I don't mean the commercial code, obviously. But the laws that govern reality, the laws that this world was created by. Things like entropy, gravity, decay, time, space, even thermodynamics. They're all things that you can model manifestation after. So firstly, you have to understand that everything in this world is subject to death and decay. Inescapable. It's just part of it. This world has gravity, which is a purely magnetic principle, by the way. But nonetheless, being held down is the starting point. That's where we all start. You have to overcome that initial force. You could call it gravity if you want it to. Damn it. You have to overcome that initial force that acts against you in order for you to manifest anything at all. If you want better, there's something inside of man that just works against him. You call it what you want. I know there's a lot of things that you could call it, but it's there. And the first thing you have to do is overcome that. Let's see. Sorry, I lost my spot again. Why do you do that? Oh, okay. All right. So all of these principles come back into play. You have to overcome that initial force. This is the first opposing force. Obviously, I'm using metaphor. It isn't literally gravity that prevents you from manifesting better circumstances. It's something that's identical to gravity, but exists within us. An example of this is like laziness. Okay, that's a good example. If someone is lazy, that is a force that's holding them back that they have to overcome in order to even get started, before they have any kind of good ideas or anything. The lazier that someone is, the harder it becomes for them to act as time passes. So I know like a lot of people. I know a lot of poor people in my city because I used to be one of them. And I know that not all of them, but most of them are poor because they're lazy. And there's a difference between someone who is lazy in their teens because they can overcome that. But someone who has been lazy for 30 years and is now 50 years old and is still lazy is probably going to die that way. That's that initial force. They never got over it. Another saying that that applies directly to this: to those who have, more shall be given. If you have lazy, you will receive more lazy. And of course, this gets into your own perception, what you're consciously aware of. If you're aware that you're lazy and you're miserable, you're going to be given more lazy and miserable. If you're aware that you are full of potential and capable of doing anything, you're going to receive more. It's all about conscious attention. All right. So, to the man of sloth, only more sloth is in store. So another principle of law that comes into mind is an object at rest stays at rest unless acted on by an equal and opposite force. As I said, we are greeted from the very beginning by that force of gravity, that resistance we encounter in everything we do. That gravity is a symptom of the body, of the flesh, and it must be overcome by a force that acts on the body that is greater than that initial force holding us back. You see, these principles apply to the external world. If a rock is sitting still, you need something to act on it to move it. But it also applies internally. No one ever internalizes anything. I'd say that we do, you and I. Because if you didn't, you probably wouldn't want to be here to hear me talk about it. So this the gravity, this initial force that is nameless, that we're talking about here, sorry, it's a symptom of the body, the flesh, and we need a greater force than that gravity to act on us in order for us to even begin. This very first force is where most people live their entire lives underneath it. They never even get started. they don't. That opposing force, that force that moves us from out from underneath that weight that holds us down, and it can only come from one place, and that's within. The only way to move the body forward is the force within making it move. There's very few things outside of you that will change anything about you. And it's sad. Really sad. Anyway. So, damn it, why do you do that? All right. All of these principles come into play in an internal way. The same laws that govern reality around us, they govern the actuality, the reality within us. Identical laws. The decay. The decay is right now is my issue. So let me say, I've come, this is the third night in a row that I've made time to come out here and record a video, because the last two times I couldn't seem to make it work. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, but I don't, how do you say that? I tried a bunch of times to record these videos, and it just never seemed to work. That's because of the decay. So, I went from knowing nothing about making videos, nothing at all, to making them fairly consistently. I practiced, I downloaded and bought video editing software. I spent a while working on it, and I enjoyed it. But once my attention was drawn away from making and recording these videos, the desire and the ability to even practice this, I'm sorry, the desire that I had to do this and the ability that I had exercised to do this began to deteriorate. It's really hard to explain. No, it's not. So this is what people refer to when they say they haven't done something in so long. It feels like they just started doing it. A clear and plain example of this is like working out, okay? Which is a very, very beneficial thing to do. If you do some meditation and some yoga, you feel so much better. But you can go to the gym, you can build your muscles, your physical, your body. You can build your muscles to an incredible degree, but if you take a week off, you may lose the motivation to go back entirely. If you take a month off, you may lose the physique that you work so hard for. Those muscles decay, they fade away. You might get fat, you never know. But that's essentially what happened to me. I was excited and I was making videos and everything was good and I was learning new things. And then I had my attention diverted into business related things. And as I focused more and more on the business, the skills I had developed in the video making and everything related to it began to decay. You have to exercise those skills or they deteriorate. It's decay. It's a law of this world. Everything dies. Everything gets weak if it isn't being used. Use it or you lose it. So, sorry, this is kind of detailed, I guess. Let's see, where am I at? Damn it. All right. So as I said, you can go to the gym, you can work out for 2 years straight, and then if you take a month off, it might have undone a lot more than you think. So this somewhat ties into this idea that I mentioned earlier about thermodynamics, for example. It's a law of reality around us, and there is an identical law within us. What I don't really specifically mean thermodynamics here. I'm more just talking about like the star principle. You can burn bright and brilliantly, but you'll burn out faster. You can burn slow and dim, but you'll never get to know what it's like to burn bright. You'll never get some superb lifestyle of a multi-billionaire with yachts and fame and wealth and all those things. You can't have both. You can't have everything. The point is, there are laws to this, and there's always a balancing factor. Always. We, as men and women, made in the image of God, must create via the same pattern. Across the time, in the desired field, with love, dedication, and effort. Just as a musician has no business in the field of finance, neither does someone wanting to manifest vast wealth have business hanging out with poor people. It doesn't work. Sorry. So, those are different worlds, okay? The world of finance is different, a lot different, from the world of music. They may be built off of the same blueprint. There may be similar principles and ideals in both areas, but those are two separate things. If you want to be a musician, you need to put your time, energy, and effort into music. If you want to be an accountant, you don't need a guitar. The biggest point to be made is effort and energy invested across time. That's it. Like there's not some secret hoping for the best. It's literally just work and work and work until you cannot work anymore. You have to push yourself beyond what you even think you're capable of. So, if you're capable of doing 9 jumping jacks, right? And for a week straight, you push yourself to do 10. Now you've done 10 for a week, right? Now you need to push yourself to do 11. Eventually you'll get it. And then you can move to 12. It's the same process. There's no wishful thinking to it. It's purely effort. And clear thoughts and decision making. If you're trying to accumulate a vast amount of wealth, you don't need to be wasting money on stupid shit. There's not a magic formula. Not here, not in this world. There's only clear planning and effort. That's it. So, shit. Damn it. All right, so as I said, those are different worlds. And they lead us to manifest different things. You cannot manifest anything without clear decision making, effort, and consistency. It doesn't happen. You're not just going to think positive thoughts for 30 days and on the 31st day you'll wake up in a mansion. That isn't going to happen. You're not going to wish yourself into a position where you've inherited $100 million from some random ass person. It isn't going to happen. You work for it to death or you don't get it. It's that simple. You cannot wish yourself into a mansion with a sports car and a yacht. And suppose you could. Suppose you did do that. You would have that stuff for a month until the payment comes due. You cannot escape Caesar and Caesar's world. You can't. Those people who push this idea of put out good and get back good, those people are full of shit. They are. So those people that push that positive thinking will bring you vast riches and luxury, they're feeding you total bullshit. That isn't real. It's not. Positive thinking certainly puts you in a better position to earn those things, but you aren't just gonna magically poof them out of the fucking ether. So sorry. So here's this, right? This is why we are told. No, before I even get to reading this, let me say this. Everything that people believe, majority of the people, like celebrities and all that shit that people think are rich, wealthy, they're not. They're not. They have money. They have the ability to do things, but they're not even remotely as rich as they are portrayed. What they're rich in is influence. They have the ability to get stupid people to do whatever they want. Most of the people who are incredibly rich, from my generation, aren't rich at all now. They're just average people. And that's something I love looking into, is how people who are clearly just average people ascend to the heights, the highest pinnacles of society, and end up coming right back down. I love studying it. It's not so much a studying it. I just love seeing a normal person achieve such great things. I don't know why. That's why stories like Elon Musk, it bothers the shit out of me, because Elon Musk was never a normal person. Never. And this is the case for a lot of other people. Even Elon Musk is not as rich as people think he is. What he has, and what they all have, is an incredible, how do you say that? Very few of them have a bank account that just has billions of dollars in it. None of them have billions. But there's a few that have a bank account with a few million. But what they mostly have is the ability to get huge amounts of credit, which they then pay back monthly. The idea that society has created about what wealth is totally fabricated. And this idea of wealthy that society produced is exactly what people are trying to manifest when they say put positive out, good things back. They're trying to manifest something that doesn't exist. Not only are those people not remotely as wealthy as people think they are, but they also could lose that wealth at the snap of a finger. Not just... Sorry. Throat's dry. Not just because of some sort of legal or government issue, but because he giveth and he taketh away. Taketh away. I've learned in my time studying this phenomena of society's idea of wealth. Most of these people are like unbelievably innocent. Okay? I know you might disagree. You might think QAnon and they're all pedophiles and shit. But take, for example, this Johnny Depp trial that's going on. Johnny Depp, he may not be what people would call innocent. He is in his case. innocent, but the only person he's ever done anything wrong to was himself. He goes to hospitals and he visits kids, and he's like dangerously naive. But that seems to be the case with majority of the people who hit that pinnacle. They don't think like poor people. They don't think like a corrupt person. Whatever. Enough of that. I'm getting off track. I'm sorry. Let me find where I was at. Shit. Well, I hope you guys get my point about the wealth. The idea that the thing that people want to manifest doesn't even exist at all. They're trying to manifest something that's purely imaginary, which seems to be the case most of the time. Okay, so this is why we are told, store up your treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not corrupt. Store up your treasure where men cannot get to it. Where no man or robber can reach it. Now, speaking of this verse, just real quick, Jesus tells us, Jesus tells you in the Bible, Jesus says, store up your treasures in heaven. Okay? How, based on the world, what the world tells us about the Bible, right? That heaven is like somewhere in the sky, and it's on the way here. And I guess it's going to fall from the sky, and this golden city will have like trash routes every Monday and Thursday. There'll be like a public school, public transportation in this New Jerusalem, right? How do you store up your treasures in heaven? How do you do that? Based on the world's explanation. I probably should have did this in a whole separate video because it's hilarious. This is another thing that the world says, just like this idea of wealth, that's total bullshit. Total bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention, as another point to the idea of what society calls wealth, what most people have, especially considering like corporations and stuff, what they have is percentages of profit that have been invested into the stock market over a long period of time that gives them a large portion of the stock market. Not just money they can go and blow on parties and stuff. That I'm just saying that the idea that people have of what wealth and prosperity actually is totally imaginary. I blame the rap music. I'm just kidding. All right, so how does one store up their treasures in heaven if heaven is somewhere outside of you, due to arrive here at some point in the future? So not only is this worldly idea of manifesting prosperity through positive thinking total bullshit, but so is everything else that this world says. Everything that the world, if the whole world agrees on something, it's fucking wrong. Period. Heaven is mental. Crazy, I know. Heaven is in your midst. It's within you. It's not physical. It's something that when you see, you don't see it with the eyes. You see it with the understanding, with the comprehension. You remember we was talking about the two types of sight? It's not physical. All right. Heaven is in the mind. You store up your treasures there by being happy when you shouldn't be. Not like if somebody dies, you're happy about it, but being happy when you shouldn't be, by doing what's right when it's so much easier to do what's wrong. For example, if you have a choice between putting in time and effort now for the next 5 years and you will accomplish some incredible goal, you can do that, or you can sit around and play video games. Okay? Take the hard route. Take the hard route, and there's far more happiness at the end of that road. And there's also better circumstances. But if you squander opportunities and you waste, maybe that's just me, but if you waste time, you often end up miserable. Which reminds me of Manly P. Hall said, it's in the video I shared. I didn't make that. Tonight we vibe in heaven, right? Because the music helps you relax. You find happiness and you just chill with yourself in peace. But Manly Hall cuts in and says he's been in the room many times when death came in. And majority of the people that he was there with when they died had some regret. They wished that they had done something differently with their time, that they had done this more or that less. But there's always that regret. And if you waste your time, you'll get a cut. I have that problem like super bad. I can't stand it. All right, so sorry I got off there. You store your treasures in heaven by being happy when it's difficult to, when you shouldn't be, by doing what's right when it's so much easier to do what's wrong, by helping the same people that wouldn't help you. Then, when you think back on those things, you can be happy and you can smile, and you don't have to feel regret, misery, and worry. You can look back on it and be happy. And you should definitely do that. You better. Because heaven, if heaven is where the thoughts are, you're going to have a long time with them when you leave here. Anyway, in short, manifest and effort are the same thing. To display by your actions, to put in the effort. It takes sacrifice. Not the type where you sacrifice your mother to Moloch or whatever shit they say now. I haven't even paid attention to that in like a year. In fact, if you I know that a lot of people believe that people sacrifice their relatives for fame and success. If you did that, all you would do is break a law of don't murder, and you would face consequences for it. You would not be rewarded for sacrificing anything. You won't. All right. It takes real sacrifice, the inescapable type of sacrifice, where you choose to spend your time working and you die alone because you never had the time to meet a good partner. You always have to make a trade. Everything has a cost. Everything is a trade. Nothing is free. Nothing. There is no magical shortcut. And I honestly believe that most of the people here on my channel already know that. The only way to get what you want is through sheer effort and determination, force of will. Even when it looks like it won't, make it. Effort. the people who have succeeded at the highest levels, one thing to note here, the people who have succeeded at the highest levels in society, the people at the very top, the richest, the most wealthy, the most influential, powerful people that there are. Hold on, guys, I lost my spot. Okay. The people who are at the highest levels are the ones, they're the very same people that have it the worst. They are. They traded people. They traded building relationships with people around them and knowing love, knowing brotherhood, knowing true love, as in like a man and a woman. They traded that. They traded those things for things. And now their only concern is having to jump through hoops to maintain their possessions. Not they can't do anything that they want to do because it might blemish this persona that they've created, and that's no way to live. Nearly every famous person that you could name is more than likely an NPC. They may have gained the world. They may be able to do anything that they want to do. But in doing that, they have lost what makes them unique. They have lost the ability to be who they truly are. They haven't actually just been themselves in so long that they don't even remember who they are. And there's a reason I say this. They've lost what makes them unique. They are owned by the things that they own. The idea of losing the things that they have is terrifying to them. Yeah, that's incredible. Anyway, they're owned by their possessions. I know this because I've been there, right? I've never been like fucking multi-millionaire, but I've literally had everything that there is to have. I've accumulated incredible amounts of money, property, merchandise, whatever you want to call it. And at a point, you just cross a line where your things consume you, and all you can think about is holding on to them. Myself, I would get incredibly paranoid because usually I knew that I didn't deserve the things that I had accumulated. So I began to worry that someone was taking those things. But it's a similar situation for everyone in that position. When you get the world, all you worry about is keeping the world. And in doing that, you lose the people. The people are what matter. So the people in this world at the top are the bottom spiritually. And the people at the bottom in this world are so unique and cultured that material possessions would only cost them something that they shouldn't be willing to trade. The people at the bottom in this world are the greatest people spiritually. Usually. I know there's some real fucked up people out there. But my point is, with this manifestation and everybody wanting to manifest this or that, maybe you should think about the cost. I'm sorry, not you. Maybe we should think about the costs of these things that we want to manifest before we start wanting to manifest them. I mean, at least in relation to material possessions. It's always okay to want to make your life circumstances better. But that doesn't come, like I said, without time, dedication, and effort. That's really it. That's it. There's no fucking secret. That's how you get things in this world. You dedicate your effort and your time to it consciously and clearly, with a clear goal and milestones oriented toward accomplishing it. That's how you get it. The idea of manifestation has been diluted and watered down to nothing. But as I said in the top, the very definition of the term manifestation is to show, to demonstrate, or to show by your actions. But this leads into what I would talk about as far as manifesting on the physical plane, which is, it's as simple as altering the way you think. Stop letting every bad thought into your mind and then tripping out and stressing about those things. Maybe that's not the best way to say it, but whatever. This is the most crucial thing that you can do, is stop letting, if bad thoughts come to everybody, just let them come and let them leave. Don't focus your conscious attention on them. Don't water that seed. The more good that you focus your attention on, the more good will come to you. To those who have good thoughts, more shall be given. That's what manifesting's all about. It's about time, effort, dedication, and work. This is the world. This world is about work. People often mistake it for prison planet, slave system. No, it's just about work. That's it. You do the work, you get the reward. Everybody that does the work gets the reward. If you don't do the work and you take the reward, you broke a law, and in the end, ultimately, you'll wish that you had not taken the reward. But as I said, I'll get out here. I'll be practicing these videos. I will be back, obviously. But I'll practice. I'll get back to where I was at before, being able to roll with these videos. And I guess until then, guys, I love you all. I'll see you soon.